So, Monsieur le Photographe, you've covered the one and only Ermengarde mansion. What's next on the agenda?
The interview?
Boring. It's an interior design and housing magazine.
And they want to know what Miss Wright has to say about her interior design and house.
Honor Wright thinks she bought a magnificent house that she can certainly brag about. Blah, blah. Boring. You know what they should print more of? I watched an interesting documentary the other day. Bleu Foncé, the darkest hours of the Black British. I recommend you watch it. Those are the things that people should know about. What do they care if I use a purple or green bowl of fruit in my kitchen?
People, right?
Oui. People are shite. What do you think? Do I look good with this angle?
I strike a pose while he's being busy, looking taken aback for a moment, probably not expecting me to just go and say such a crass word. But he recovers quickly, and after snapping a few shots, he grins.
Pierre, vous êtes belle.
You want copies of these ones?
Yes, please. So, the big boy knows French. You must have wooed a few ladies. Unless you're into gents. Either way, French is, after all, the language of romance.
Oh, I don't know about quoting fancy poetry, but I've made lunch for a girl before, and they did like that fancy French cuisine.
Can you cook your best?
I can cook just about anything as long as I know the recipe.
C'est magnifique.
It has been too long since I've had a nice proper chat with a good friend. No, Lee is certainly not a good friend. And although we've just met, Zachary is the sort who can probably befriend anyone. He's just a comfortable person to be around with. A bit too comfortable. The photo shoot went by a breeze. And somewhere along the way, as we talk and laugh, I find myself getting a bit too close without realizing. He'll give me this strange look until I back off, and he'll go back to asking questions after I agreed to do his little interview. And it's just odd. Well, no. Me being friendly isn't that odd. That is how I am. Zachary is the one that's being odd. Why, anyone else would have absolutely welcomed the extra attention I give him. He, on the other hand, looks almost flustered about it. He should be used to different personalities by now, having to deal with various people when he works. And if not, he needs to start. Perhaps nobody has shown him attention of this kind, but he's a big boy, and he should be able to handle me. All it is a friendly touch here, a pretty smile there, and a gentle swaying of the hips as I move around. Zachary grew and grew more red every time he noticed. Am I being mean, as I find enjoyment in seeing him unravel? Perhaps. This went on during the interview and beyond that. There's nothing wrong with what we're doing, right? Zachary and I are just having a playful, friendly chat while enjoying the outside view. At least that's how I see it.
I'm sorry, but I'm really getting distracted. Could you maybe stop doing that?
Stop? I'm not sure if I want to, though.
Stop.
I'll stop if it makes you uncomfortable, sweetie.
Increased. He appreciated that.
Sorry.
No, I should be the one apologizing. Why, you're a shy one, aren't you, big guy?
It's not that, but...
He gestures to the ring on my finger, and lets the fact of the matter hang heavily between us. Being told implicitly that I am too forward is not a common occurrence. I think I'm more stunned at the fact that he pointed it out rather than, well, being rejected. Not that anything is going to happen between us in the first place. It was just going to be some harmless flirting, right?
So, you've never had a girlfriend?
No. No boyfriend either. You know, just in case you were gonna ask for that one next.
And you haven't even had your first kiss?
Not a one, ma'am.
Do you want to have your first kiss today?
Oh my gosh. I can't help it. I really, really can't, and I'm going to apologize lots later. Surely by the catty smile on my face, it is obvious that I'm just pulling his leg. The laugh I failed to contain certainly gives it away, if it still isn't obvious. But still, he lightens up in embarrassment, stammering and sputtering objections.
You're married, and this will be extremely unprofessional.
Oh, teasing. Teasing is fun.
I never said I would kiss you, silly. Oh, Johans!
No, what? No, no.
Come over here. Kiss this boy.
Don't call your butler. She's Hannah.
I love it.
That would be for the better. I don't think his husband would appreciate it if I made him kiss another man. I do not think he can hear us from here either. But it is hard to think you're not taken, Zachary. Why, whoever becomes your girlfriend will be so lucky to have you. You can cook and take wonderful photographs. Wonderful meals and wonderful memories.
I could play guitar too.
You can? Oh my, wonderful serenades as well then. Perhaps I can find a young lady who deserves a fine, strapping young gentleman like yourself.
Let's not get carried away. Besides, I gotta be going. It's getting late and I got someplace else to be.
A shame. I will be expecting you again soon, I hope. For a copy of my photographs, yes?
Of course, I'll even deliver them personally. Just, you know, don't try to make me kiss your butler when I drop by.
As fate would have it, the very moment the words leave his mouth, Johans comes out of the house. Judging by the slight raise of his eyebrows, he has heard only the tail end of the sentence.
There shall be no kissing of any butlers under this roof. Danke.
But you're not under a roof, are you, Hansi?
Oh. To my amusement, he takes a step back, safely placing himself within the threshold of the foyer and under the roof of the house. And just as ever, he is quick to return with a sardonic reply.
I am now. As I was saying, madam, it's about time for supper. Will I be needing to set an extra place at the table?
Oh, what? No, I was just leaving, actually. So, you have a good night, Hannah. And you too, Hansi.
It was nice to meet you, Zach, honey. You have a safe trip.
He nods, and the grin on his face as we say our goodbyes is the sweetest that I have ever seen. I linger, looking out for him with his relatively tiny bicycle, backpack safely secured in the basket by the front, and suitcase hooked on the back. I watch as he went down the path back to Anselm village, until he is nothing more than a blip in the horizon. I cannot help the small smile on my face as I go inside for supper. Entering the dining hall causes me so much confusion. It is dark. For a moment, I thought the electric work is not up to par. But that clearly is not the case, as every other room is bright with artificial light. Finding the light switch is a monumental task, considering the size and my unfamiliarity with the room. To make matters worse, the darkness grants the room a different atmosphere. Eerie and frightening. It takes longer than I thought to find the switch, something that will have to be rectified later on. My skin starts to prickle, and there's this distinct feeling of being watched. It unsettles me, and only spurs me on in my search. And when I do open the lights, there is a hiss.
I'll turn the lights down, woman!
There, at the end of the hall, is my beloved husband, with his face in one hand and a glass in the other. Perhaps I can let it go if it's only one glass of wine. However, I can feel myself go livid after seeing the green toxic liquid gleam mockingly at me.
Luke, what? Are you drinking absinthe? You know what the doctor said. Absinthe, Luke. Are you actively trying to kill yourself? Because if you are, we can just hit you with a bloody car.
Honeybee, Buttercup, not too loud, please. Besides, it's Lelouch, not too strong. Just hair of the dog that bit me. Helps with the hangover, dearest.
You drank? When?
This morning, love. Don't be mad. I just needed a few drinks, having to deal with those simpletons. And maybe I had one too much. You don't see me whinging about you leaving me to handle them on my own.
I had to attend the photo shoot and interview with Luxury Living. You know that. Let's not make this about me, Luke. This is about you and your drinking problem and...
Oh, I don't know, Hannah, darling. What if my drinking problem, as you like to call it, is linked to you? If we think about it that way, this discussion is about you. That was pretty mean of you, leaving me alone to do all the work like that. You can't use the interview as an excuse either, honey. I was informed the moment your little interview was done. So, what was it then, What were you doing?
What's it gonna be? Should I tell him the truth or tell a little lie? I was with Zachary or I was tending to the gardens.
I don't know if he'll like the honest truth. Just go with it. Just say she was with Zach.
I was talking with Zachary, the photographer for Luxury Living.
Went down. I have no reason to tell lies. It's not like I am guilty of anything. But as Luke's expression turns, he makes me feel like I actually am to blame for something. He has a way of making me laid bare with just a look. That had really struck me when we first met years ago.
That giant Negro? You were having a secret meeting behind my back and it was with him?
What are you implying?
I'm implying nothing. I'm just worried. You know better than to trust those media types, Buttercup. He must have been really friendly to occupy your time like that. But all he's looking for is his next big headline.
He's a photographer for an interior design magazine.
Doesn't matter. You let one little thing slip, one wrong move, and it'll blow up in the telly in the morning. He'll go to his journalist friends to gossip and make a quick quid.
His eyes were the first thing that I noticed about him. They were like nature, the grass and the trees, wonderful and breathtaking. Now as I look at him, they're nothing but the same shade of green as the bloody dang drink in his hand.
He was a perfect gentleman, Luke. I can't say the same for you as of recent.
You've caused a fight, my brother.
Excuse me again? We're talking about you, Hannah.
No, I am pretty sure we were talking about you and your drinking problem, Luke, right?
Hangover forgotten during the course of this little spat, the man jumps to his feet and seethes. It looks like he is barely stopping himself from throwing the nearest thing he can find.
Oh, it is not a problem. I can stop whenever I want. And even if it was, I think you can very well stay out of it, as it only affects my own kidneys or liver or whatever the bloody hell that shite pollutes. Whatever aftermath that occurs because of your little chit-chat with the Negro affects the both of us, however.
Look, Luke, nothing will happen. You have to relax. It was just a friendly chat.
Well, now I think I'm getting jealous. Or I would be if it weren't for this damn headache.
Maybe you should drink more.
Maybe.
Supper is spent in silence, with nothing but the occasional sound of silverware. A grand feast has been served. Well, grander than usual anyway, most likely due to Luke's complaints of his stress. A platter of native oysters for starters, and tranche of turbot with purple sprouting broccoli, lemon, capers, and anchovy sauce for mains. To finish it all off, black tea and golden syrup sponge pudding with custard. But when our appetites are appeased and the plates are cleared away, Luke stands, kisses me goodnight, and leaves me to stare at my half-empty cup. Lonely in the lull of night, I sit in a house too big and too empty, foreign and unwelcoming. Even with its warm tone and homely decor, it feels cold. There's no need for tears, however. I know I can get through this like every other obstacle I have faced before. This is a minor setback in what I hope will be a long and happy life. To remind myself that this place is for Luke and our future children fills me with a renewed vigor. Besides, it looks like someone is having a cry already. The wailing is far away and muffled. Yet at the same time it shakes me to my very core as I hear it. As if the suffering is just standing right beside me. Hearing it sends a chill down my spine and makes my skin prickle with goosebumps. Who is that? Curiosity sinks in as I follow the sorrowful sound into the kitchen. And into the wine cellar hatch.
Hello? Is anybody down there?
I am curious and concerned, but there's no way I'm going down into a dark and humid underground. I am not as enthusiastic as Luke, who considers himself quite the connoisseur. However, I cannot bring myself to go to bed with this racket going on. If it is one of the household help, they will surely need some talking. After all, this wouldn't be the first time I've gone and found one of our maids sobbing their eyes out over one thing or another. As professional as our staff are, they are still human. More often than not, it was either Johannes or I who'd calm them down, who'd help them figure out how to go on about things. Unfortunately, I am not in high spirits right now, so I'm not as wholly benevolent. So I will...
Open the hatch.
Okay. We're opening the hatch.
I get curious.
I may not be going down, but there's no point in talking through closed doors. Or hatches, in this case. The thing refuses to budge at first until there is a soft click, and it easily swings free. As I lift up the hatch and look down into the cellar, a sense of uneasiness washes over me. It isn't just the sudden onset of vertigo and nausea, but also the darkness. It's suffocating. And as I look down, it feels as if it's looking back at me. I worry that something will suddenly pull me into the deep. I can hear her whispering. Calling for me. She wants me. Needs me. She wants to drown me, pull me down, and suffocate me in her embrace until I sink to the bottom. A deep abyss waits, inviting yet foreboding. She's calling to me from in there, isn't she? And I do want to help. I do. But the shadows threaten to creep out, and a feeling of apprehension keeps me in place. Already, it paints the room in a darker light. There is a lurching sensation, and the feeling that follows after is hard to explain. It feels like I'm watching myself from the sidelines, a spectator to my actions, or lack thereof. I will snap. I will myself to snap out of this detached feeling, to move, to do anything except stare at myself. And for a moment, I see the look of fear in my own face. I'm back in my body, but the hook in my stomach is no longer the only one. There are hooks everywhere, tearing and pulling at my flesh, bones, and skin. They pull at me in every direction, and it hurts. It hurts so much, but I just can't bring myself to scream out.
Help me.
Oh, that was the QTE. I thought it said...
Load.
I thought it said to tab to get off of her thing.
So we'll do the other one. Call them out. Just kidding.
Okay. So let's just do it right there.
Help.
Okay. I can't see it! Okay, there we go. I did it. I did it. What? What was new? Huh? What? Okay. Don't know what was new there. I awake from a deep slumber. It takes a while with the fog that has settled in my mind, or in my head, and with my heavy limbs. But soon enough I manage to look around. I'm in our bedroom already, although I do not recall going here. Luke slumbers beside me, looking peaceful and angelic. It doesn't matter. I'm safe, and I feel better than ever. Tomorrow, better days will come. October 28th, Friday. Luke is already gone by the time I rise. There isn't a single hide nor hair of him to be found, and trying to call him on his mobile is a bust, as it only goes straight to his voicemail. That's twice in a row he's gone on me. And for him to disappear today, of all days, is every bit upsetting because of what's to come. The morning is once again filled with a whirlwind of activity. Fortunately, I am much more refreshed as I took a break from my responsibilities. I haven't the faintest clue where Luke was yesterday. Today is going to be a busy day, although, unlike Wednesday, the master of the house isn't here right now, absent once again from his duties. Hopefully he'll be back in time for the party. This is our house, after all. A grand housewarming party for the wonderful Wright mansion. Every person of importance from Luxburn is invited, and there will be a few guests flying in as well. Of course, there will be some people from the media, along with friends and acquaintances who are made no less important, regardless of their status in society. Maryanne and I discuss business and last-minute touches to the house before finalizing everything. Not that there was much change from our original plans. Bar any huge additions to the property itself, the mansion is nearly 100% complete.
You have certainly exceeded expectations, Maryanne. Everything looks so marvelous, and in such a short time, too.
Well, I can't take all of the credit. People have certainly been enthusiastic about the idea of working on the Wright mansion. There won't be any more problems unless Mr. Wright has any more objections about the second bedroom.
Luke and I had a small tiff about making the second bedroom into a child's playroom, which I insisted is completely practical. In the end, he had to shoot. I should be able to know how to say this word. This word. I can't say it right
Acquisite?
now. No. Acquisite? I don't know. I'm not gonna linger anymore. I didn't give him any choice in the matter. I even bought this wonderful wooden crib from the antique store yesterday, including some toys. Just in case anyone brings their baby, of course. Besides, we have little need for actual guest rooms. We hardly have guests who spend the night. If we absolutely have to, we often choose to foot the bill for their visit on one of our hotels instead, always at Luke's own insistence. And on the off chance that we actually let someone stay, the bedroom in the opposite wing is still up to the task.
Oh, no. We proceed with that room as planned. I already agreed to him having his greenhouse and his vineyard and his stables. He may as well let me have this one thing.
No, I did not agree to him having a helipad.
All right, then. Well, do we have any other concerns? Anything we need to put on our agenda before the party commences?
No, I don't think so. Not unless Luke has anything else to say.
Is he around then? It'd be best if we can note down his request right away, considering the scope of his usual ones.
Around? No. Where is he? Who knows where? I don't.
No, he's not around.
She didn't have to point out the obvious now, did she? After 7 long years, I'd already gotten used to him. I should be by now. Still not, apparently.
But don't you have a party?
I want nothing more than to complain, to whinge on how unfair this is. However, airing out one's dirty laundry is simply taboo among high society. To do so will make you a ripe target for the next dinner party chit-chat. Vultures, the lot of them, really. Or most of them, at least. There are always good ones like Rochelle Lee. But put your trust in the wrong person and you'll find yourself eagerly picked apart.
Yes. But Luke's just being a sweetie, you see. That friend he's visiting. He's having marital problems and he's just trying to cheer him up.
Perhaps I'm being a bit too rash, a bit too hot-headed in divulging details. But I thought to myself clever when the plan to dress it up as gossip. Maryanne's raised brow make me unsure whether she is interested or not. Although that does not make things better if she has no interest, and therefore has no hidden intent to utilize whatever I may say to her.
They've been married for a long time and they've hit a... how do they say it? A rough patch. His wife has a drinking problem and can be very neglectful. The poor thing really does his best to be a good husband. But it's never enough for her. Sometimes I think it's the years. Maybe it's been so long that they've lost that romantic spark. What do you think?
What do I think of the matter, ma'am?
No, what do you think of my hair? It feels so lifeless and dull today, and that's no good for a party. And I think I'm breaking out into zits.
Now that you mention it, there is something different.
There better not be something on my face.
I wouldn't worry about that. You do look a little paler than usual, ma'am. I apologize if I'm crossing any lines here, but have you been resting properly?
Huh. You'd think I get a bit tanned with how sunny it's been lately. Don't you worry. I feel right as rain and never better. But back to the matter at hand.
You were asking for my personal opinion on the matter, ma'am? Do you want me to be honest, or...
Be honest.
Be honest with me?
Be honest with me, Maryanne. I don't need someone to sugarcoat it.
What up?
I'm not some fragile thing that I'm just going to break down at the slightest thing.
She hesitates, taking a sip of her coffee while I stare into my own cup of tea. The silence stretches on, and I almost believe that she will never answer my question. I suppose that I shouldn't blame her, putting her in a tight spot like this. Her hesitation is understandable, though I loathe to admit it. She simply wants this whole thing to stay professional. But then she speaks.
If I'm going to be completely honest, I need to ask. This is about you and Mr. Wright, isn't it?
It's my turn to hesitate now. I really didn't expect such a straightforward question. And to get to the heart of the matter, I suppose I'm not as clever as I'd like to think. Or is it really that bad to an outsider that an outsider can see our little marital troubles? Surely we aren't that obvious, are we? We've put up the act of a perfect couple for years, although it hadn't always been an act. Maryanne is just more keen than the average person, of course. It is a necessity to her career, and she's been working so closely with us. Yes, that's it.
Suppose it is. What would you tell me?
Then, I tell you it's none of my business. I tell you that I don't want to meddle. But, if the troubled husband with the neglectful wife asked me for my honest opinion, I'd say that he shouldn't base his happiness and his self-worth on someone else. Someone who won't even give him the time of the day. Maybe he should try being independent for a while. See what it's like when he isn't trying to please someone else and doing things for himself. Everyone's supposed to be their own man or woman, right? A bit of breathing room never hurt anyone. That's just my 2 pence worth, of course.
So you're saying they should divorce?
Nothing as drastic as that. If they're afraid that it might lead to just that, then maybe that is what's meant to happen in the first place. We shouldn't let our fear control our lives. But it's just a short hiatus is all. Or, couples therapy? Look, I'm really not the best person to ask about relationships. So grain of salt and all that.
She trails off, having said her piece, and leaves nothing but the smell of coffee and Earl Grey between us. There's a calm despite the nature of what has just been discussed. To say that her words make me start to think is an understatement. To say that I'm not considering her advice is a lie. And to say that this might just be the calm before the storm is a possibility. Others have had shorter marriages, yes, but plenty have celebrated long and happy ones as well. My own parents celebrated their choral anniversary before they passed. But 7 years... 7 years isn't a whole lot in the grand scheme of things. It isn't a whole lot of time to see what and where our relationship can bring us. And at the same time, 7 years... Well, it hasn't been entirely made up of unhappy years, has it? It won't last forever. It's not supposed to, anyway. I just dread the thought that it might last for a very long time. I dread the thought that these small spats, these little disagreements, will turn into an all-out resentment. The idea that we will grow to hate each other with every fiber of our being scares me. I can't even pinpoint the exact moment when our blissful union turns sour. We can get through this, right? I know that I still do love him, and I feel that there is still a part of him that loves me in return. We just need to get our heads together and talk it out. Surely, he will see some sense. There's a cough before Maryanne clears her throat. I must have been quiet for so long, and I move to apologize when she stands up. We both end up on our feet, unsure on how to proceed. Some sort of awkward shuffle occurs as we decide whether to sit back down or not.
I really should handle what's left of the work.
You won't be attending the party? Oh, you really must, Maryanne.
I'll try to stay in chat. Maybe grab a few bites and a drink, but I can't be around for the entirety of the event. My apologies. Busy, busy, busy.
You must stay a while. I'd love for you to meet some of my friends, and they're ever so excited to meet you. You need to say hello to the Lees, at least. If it wasn't for them, I'd never even heard of you.
We'll see. So, if I can be excused?
Certainly. You'll have to excuse me as well. I must attend to the party before any early birds arrive. Because, believe me, they will throw a fuss if things aren't ready, even when they're not supposed to be here until an hour later.